Hi, Jen.
Hey, Josh.
Okay. So what I'm doing now, I'm contacting everyone in the group and see if they're online. If they're online, they will accept the video call. So just wait for a while. I
Yes.
think now Nadif is already online. I will speak in Bahasa Indonesia and English, so please mind my language. Pak Nadif, apa kabar?
Baik, Pak.
Baik, oke. Semuanya udah oke. Pak Nadif ada videonya?
Ada, Pak.
Oke, silakan diaktifkan, Pak.
Oke.
Okay. I'm going to start sharing my screen, so you should be able to see my screen now. Okay, terima kasih Pak Nadif. Yes, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. So, I'm not sure why everyone else is not coming on. Try to add. Okay. Kind of like this. Okay. Let's see. Eunice, are you already online? Okay.
Oops.
Okay, Bu Nini. Halo Bu Nini. Okay. Halo Bu Nini. Okay. Okay, I'll just disconnect that. Would be a lot of noise. Just like. Eunice, are you already there? Let me see if I can stop sharing. I'll just stop sharing the screen first and see whether it can work. Oh, let me just try to make the call again. Just make sure if we get the better connection. Okay. Okay, let's see. Oke. Ibu Nur sudah bisa dengar saya ya? Ibu Nini sudah bisa dengar saya? Oh, it's very strange. Let me just try again. Okay. Let me just disconnect first. Let me just try to reinitiate everything. Belum. Okay. Let me just reinitiate everything. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Oke, Bu Hanifah, saya sudah bisa lihat mukanya. Pak Nadif juga sudah online, SFN 1 Cetis.
Okay.
Jen, are you already online?
Yes. Can you
Okay.
hear me?
Yes, excellent. If you have the video, can you please can you turn on your video so everyone can see your face?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure if Eunice is already online. Okay, let me just add Eunice, Christine and Eunice.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, good. I can see your face now. Excellent. So I'm going to start now. I'm going to share my screen. So I'm going to share my screen and you're supposed to be able to see. Okay. Can you see the presentation now, Jen? Can you see my screen now, Jen? Jen? Hello, Jen? Hi, can you hear me, Jen?
Yes, I think so.
I think so? Okay, let me just put it into slideshow. Yeah. All right.
Yes, that's good.
Okay, so I'll start the online meeting today. Sorry very much. So I'm going to speak in Bahasa Indonesia in English, but Professor Jen is going to speak in English. So if you want to ask some questions, just type in the chat, either in Bahasa Indonesia or in English. Sorry, I give the instruction in English. Jen, I'm going to speak in Bahasa Indonesia a little bit, so I'll give the instruction in Bahasa Indonesia. So, Bapak-bapak, Ibu-ibu,
Okay.
Jadi Profesor Jen akan mempresentasikan dalam bahasa Inggris. Saya tidak akan menerjemahkan, tapi seandainya ada pertanyaan silahkan menulis di chat. Nanti bisa langsung bertanya, atau kalau ada yang ingin bertanya langsung dalam bahasa Inggris silahkan disela. Tapi kalau tidak mau menyela silahkan menulis di chat. Nah, Profesor Jen ini adalah seorang profesor yang merupakan salah satu pakar dari authentic learning. Dia sudah berkecimpung di bidang ini lebih dari 10 tahun dan dia sudah melakukan banyak hal, mulai dari PhD research-nya dia sampai sekarang dia jadi profesor di Murdoch University. Okay, Jen, you can start your presentation now.
Oh, okay. Oh, great. Well, thank you for coming along today. I'm so excited to be presenting to you from Perth. Josh, if you could move on to the next slide and I'll show you where I'm from.
Yep.
I've got some pictures of Perth.
Okay, here.
Oh, can I advance the slide?
Okay, it's already advanced. Maybe there is a little bit delay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you see the slide now? The map of of Australia and some beaches and everything. Can you see that, Jen, on your side? Okay, Jen, I'm losing your voice, so let me just try again. Okay, I think we lose connection with Professor Jen, so let me just try again to add her. Uh,
Oh, you're back.
oh, you're back? Okay. So, if you're
Yeah, I'm
back,
here.
okay. Okay, excellent. But there are Christine and Eunice and Nadif, they are still not online. Let me just try to add them.
Oh, okay. All right.
Never mind. So I'll just try to share my screen again and see whether you can see better now.
Okay.
Let me know when you can see the slide.
Yes, I can see the first slide.
Okay. Can you see the second one now?
Yes, that's it. Okay, until everything.
Yep. Hey, Jen?
Yes.
Okay, can you see the second slide now?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
Should I keep
good.
going, or
Yeah,
is
just keep
everybody
going.
there?
Yes, just keep going.
Okay. All right. Okay, I just wanted to show you some slides of where I'm from, but many of you would be familiar with Perth anyway, because it's where Josh and Eunice live as well. But it is a very beautiful city, and it'd be great if you could come over and visit. But I'll go on to my presentation now. So, Josh, if you the next slide.
Yep. All right.
On the next slide, I can't see it yet, but I'll just tell you it was what I was planning on doing this morning. Are you able to put the next slide on,
Yes.
Josh? Or
the next slide is already actually on, but it just takes time. But you can just keep talking. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, the one after this one will stay for a while, but this next slide, I was just going to tell you what I was planning on talking about in the session. I wanted to talk a bit about how in school we typically teach students in ways that does not necessarily help them when they go out, into their working life. So the next slide just says that in the plan I wanted to look at some self-regulated learning in school. Why is it good?
Jen, I'm losing your voice.
Regulate your own.
Hi, Jen.
Teaching practice, which would help very much to put this practice. So there it is. That's the next slide. Okay, the next slide, Josh.
Yeah, okay. Okay, just keep going here. I think the slide is a little bit slow.
The next one. Yeah. Okay, the next one's got a lot of text on it, and it's actually from it's a comparison of the way we we solve problems in real life and the way we typically try to teach problem solving in schools. And so if you have a look there, this is it's quite a few years old now, this work, from 1994, nearly 20 years old. But I do really like it because it shows the sorts of differences between these two. So when you see it, you'll see in the first column there we've got what happens in real life, and then in the next column what happens in school. So in real life, we typically present problems or have problems presented to us that are fairly ill formulated, so we don't necessarily know what we're dealing with. Whereas in school, we typically would provide textbook type examples that has very well structured conditions. So students know what to expect and they simply have to solve the problem. In real life, the problems we have are very much embedded in a real context and they're meaningful. Whereas in school, often students get a list of problems. For instance, in mathematics, it's typically one that we would look at there, where there's just a whole list of problems that students need to solve. They might be given these to do for homework, for instance. Then in real life, the problems we deal with usually go on for quite a while. They have depth and they're complex and they do take a while to solve. Whereas in school, the problems can often be solved in a very short time and often they lack complexity and they lack any kind of depth. Then in real life, the problems usually involve cooperation. We cooperate with others to solve our problems because often the consequences are shared. But in school, the problems that often involve competitiveness. So students competing against each other to be the best in the class. So you can see I'm up to the very last row of this one now. So in life, the problems are perceived as very real, and they are definitely worth solving because they impact on our life. Whereas in schools, problems that we give students typically seem artificial, and often they don't at all relate to the relevance that they might have to the real world, and they certainly are not relevant for students.
Yeah.
So, Josh, on to the next one. Actually, if you just keep going, and I'll keep up with I'll keep up with them as they appear because they're taking ages to. I probably should have just had plain text in them. So, in order to solve this problem, we can look at frameworks like authentic learning to help us guide the creation of environments so that it will help to prepare students for the real world. So, hang on, I'm just looking at where I'm up to.
Yeah.
Here we go. So, here we go. So how do we prepare students for jobs that don't exist yet? I've got on that next slide.
Yeah.
So students are often not very good at preparing students for the real world. Now, I'm not sure if you've seen there's a wonderful video of Sir Ken Robinson which is on YouTube, called Changing Education Paradigms. I've put the link there.
Yeah.
And somebody has illustrated this, and in that little illustration there it says, well, how can we educate children to take their place in economies of the 21st century when we can't even predict what the end of what the economy is going to be like at the end of next week? So how can we possibly know what we're really preparing them for? So on the next slide, I've just got a picture that I've taken from the web of what sorts of jobs might exist. And on the next slide, there's an illustration. Are you looking at the next slide? Or,
yeah. Entrepreneurs on the web.
The one that, what jobs might exist?
Oh, what job might exist, yeah.
Yeah. So in that, I just took a picture of that because it was a story that said that the internet has created more than 3 million jobs. So these are the sorts of jobs that we could not possibly have prepared our students for if we were preparing them in the classroom, say even last year or the year before, because the jobs haven't even been invented yet. I'm sorry, but I'm kind of moving ahead.
Yeah, keep moving ahead. Yeah.
But
Entrepreneurs on the
I'll keep
web.
going. Yep. So the next one is entrepreneurs on the web. This is just something that I also found on the internet, which was 10 ways to make money on the internet. And I've just got a picture there of one of them, which is called developing and selling T-shirts. So it's got all these suggestions on sorts of jobs that people might be able to do, just by starting up their own company almost, and just setting it up and selling things or providing a service on the web. And on the next slide, which is called Journopreneurs, it's a play on the word entrepreneur, and it's about journalists who just set up their own publications, people who start to publish, and they create their own blogs and web pages, and they write their own news and reflection and commentary. So that's the whole category of jobs that you would not have even contemplated. Sorry, I'm just looking here. There it is, journopreneurs. So the journalists creating blogs and web pages to suit their own news sites. So I'm just noticing here a question. Can you share some of your favourite reflection strategies or questions? In relation to what, Christine? I'm not sure what you mean by that question.
Christine, do you have your mic on now? Or you can just type in if you don't have your mic on. Okay, maybe you just, you can
I just keep going?
Yeah, just keep going.
Okay, so on the next slide, there's just a slide that talks about how, in order to help us prepare our classrooms to teach for the jobs that don't even exist yet, we have to change our strategies. So perhaps we need to look at a different model for creating our learning environments, and that's one of authentic learning. So I want now to just go through, that's it there. Just to have a look at, well, what is authentic learning? Josh, if you could just keep the slides coming, because, in fact, if you could just go to the next slide and then just leave it there, because I'll just speak to all of the elements on that one slide.
Sure.
So if you can go to one that says 9 elements of authentic learning.
Already there?
Yes, there it is. So if you just leave it on this one now, and I'll just speak to all those, because I've actually got a slide for each of these, but because they're coming up so slowly, I might just go straight through them.
Yep.
So this is the model of authentic learning, and you can see there's a little picture of my book, which was published a couple of years ago, called A Guide to Authentically Learning. And these are the elements that really emerge from that, so that if you were to design a learning environment, you could do so by ensuring that each of these aspects are included in the learning environment. So the first one there is an authentic context. So here you would provide for the students an environment that reflects the way the knowledge will be used in real life. So if you're teaching mathematics, for instance, you might want to create the context of students being shopkeepers or something like that, where they have to deal with money. And, that might be a way of providing that kind of authentic context. The next characteristic is an authentic activity or an authentic task that you provide students. And this is where you would set a task for the students to do, if, say, they were working in a shop, that they would create, a plan for the shop, or, you would set a task that's quite complex that would enable you to teach all the aspects that you're currently teaching. The next aspect is expert performance, and this is giving students access to expert thinking and the modelling of processes. So usually we try to teach students how an expert would behave in the real world, But in order to do so, it's a good idea if you can give examples of people who do that and who are expert in the real world. The next one is multiple perspectives. So that's giving students the opportunity to look at any problem area from different points of view. So too often we give students only one view of a particular problem, and that could be, for instance, the teacher's view, or it could be the textbook that you are using in that particular class. So students can solve all of the problems simply by looking at that one textbook. So, of course, in the age of the internet, it's very easy to give multiple perspectives to students so that they can find information and look at it from different points of view on the web. The next one is aspect is collaboration, and this is such an important one. So that would be where you get students to collaborate as they as they solve the problem. And then also there is the next one, which is reflection. So giving students the opportunity to think about and reflect and discuss the choices that they make as they go through. The next one is articulation, where you would provide opportunities for students to speak about their understanding as they're learning. So, by doing presentations to the class or by writing down their understanding in realistic kind of products, like you would get them to write a paper for an article for a newspaper or like that. So you're giving them opportunities to speak about their understanding. Then the next characteristic is more involved with the teacher's role, but it does involve others as well, and that's coaching and scaffolding. So you provide students with an opportunity to learn from you, from the teacher, the support that you provide, but also from other people, parents that might come into the classroom, or experts that you might bring in, or other students. And the last one is authentic assessment, which is where you would assess the product that the students create. Now, when they're given a complex task, it's a good idea to give them a product to create, so that they create. Oh yeah, that's way back. Yeah, actually, Josh, if you could get the next slide, which is I should have numbered these. Yeah. Which is the one called Authentic Learning Out of School Premises. Yeah. If you could get that one coming up, that'd be great while I finish talking about authentic assessment. Yeah. But that's it. But authentic assessment is, so you would assess whatever product the students create. So with authentic learning, some people will say, well, it's like if it's authentic, to be out of school premises. So it could be things like field trips or excursions or work experience or something like that. But in fact, it doesn't need to be. And if you could go to the next slide, Josh. Yep. The next slide shows you matrix. That's the one. And then the next slide. And you can see along the bottom there, there's the academic setting and the real setting. That's right. So the academic setting is like the school or a context, and the real setting is out in the real world. And on the axis, the vertical axis has an authentic kind of task or a decontextualized task. So on that slide that's just gone, there's the academic task set in an academic setting, and this is basically what we do in school. We do quizzes and things like that, and short answer questions. The slide shows a decontextualized or an academic kind of task, but set in the real world setting. So you might give students, get students to go on an excursion, but you might give them a worksheet or something like that or you might send a worksheet to their mobile phone so that they do that while they're on the field trip out in the real setting. The next one, please, Josh, is the, sorry, I'm just trying to find my, my sheet. Yeah, this one is where you've got something happening in the real world and it's a real task. And this is arguably one of the best things that we can do, but it's often very hard for us to get students out into the real world doing authentic tasks because of getting them placements and things like that. But really, this is the ideal one. It doesn't always work because sometimes when students are out in the real world, they're given very menial or meaningless kind of tasks to do rather than giving them opportunities to think about how they would really work in that workplace if they were out there working really. So the last one is, if you could move to the next slide, please, Josh.
Yep.
The next one is where you have a realistic kind of task, but it's set in an academic setting like school. So this is exactly what I mean when I talk about authentic learning. It's not something that you need to go outside in the world to do. It's something that you can do in the classroom through the design of the tasks that you give students. So on the next slide, Josh, if you could go to the next one or even the one after that, authentic learning, how many elements do you need? Sometimes people, this one, sometimes people will say, well, do you have to have all of them? But in fact, I see it more as a bit like in them. So you can see that there the arrow is the kind of towards authentic, if you can move towards the right hand side, can you understand? Actually go on to that next one, please, Josh. On the website, which I'll give you at the end of the presentation, there is actually a little tool on there to evaluate or even to design your learning environment. And you can see in that third column, there's a little continuum for each and every aspect of what I've been speaking about with little prompts and questions. So you can, yes, this is more authentic. And you can join up the dots, and if you're more to the right, you definitely got a more authentic kind of learning environment. So on the next slide, please, Josh.
Yep.
The next one is an example which I've got for you. World War I, HRC at Coonabarabran High School, which is in New South Wales in Australia. And on the next slide, please, Josh, he has created this wonderful history website where students actually, they don't learn about, become historians, because they find a name on, this is a memorial clock tower, which is in the town where the school is situated. And the students will choose the name of the
Jen, I'm losing your voice. Jen, I'm losing your voice. Hi, Jen. Okay, that's all right. Jen, are you on? Okay, 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 Jen, you're back online. Okay, Jen, I think there's a problem with your mic because I cannot.
Hello, can you hear
Okay,
me? Hear me?
okay, okay, Jen.
Ah,
Okay, okay.
yes,
So, can you see my slide now? The slide that we are on now. Let me just go to the last slide.
yes, yes, yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. Okay. So this is the last slide when you were disconnected.
okay. Did you get what I said about that?
Not really. It was disconnected in the
Oh,
middle.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll start from there. If you could move on to the next slide as well, Josh.
Yeah.
But it's a picture of a memorial in the town where the teacher works, and the students don't just learn about history, they actually become historians because they choose the name of one of the soldiers who died in World War One, which is the topic of their study, and they write up the story of that soldier so they have an authentic product.
Yep.
So on the next slide, please, Josh. But the teacher gets them to research the story, not by giving them information, but by compiling all of the resources that they need onto this website. And then the students go and find the information themselves. So the students will go to a site which has all the records of every soldier that enlisted from Australia in the First World War, and has all of their records made into PDF, so they can access this information to really write up the story of that soldier. There's another example I have, Josh, if you could just move on to the next one, which is called Complex Problem.
Yep. Jen, I'm losing your voice again. Okay. We got SMPN 1 Jetis, Ibu Yunis, Jen.
Halo, Pak Jos.
Halo, ya Bu Yunis. Ini Ibu Jennya malah offline sekarang. Sebentar ya. Oh ya Bu Titi.
Oh,
Oke. Hi Jen. Saya coba
Tadi
di sini.
sudah mulai Pak Jos.
Ya sudah mulai dari tadi. Cuma ini tadi sekarang saya coba tambah lagi Jen ya. Hi Jen. Okay. Okay. Jen, are you already there? Jen? Oke, tunggu sebentar ya. Mungkin Ibu Jen sedang kesulitan. Oke. Hi Christine, are you already online?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So just have to wait for Professor Jen to actually online. I think she has a little bit of technical problem over there.
Okay.
Hi. Okay. Ibu Yunis, are you online?
Yes, I am finally.
Okay, Jen?
Yes.
Okay, you're back online. Excellent. So we just pick
Hi,
up.
Jen.
Yes, okay, I'll just share the screen again and then we'll start again. Okay, Jen, can you please continue from the complex problem simplified, please?
Okay. You put the slide up that you want, and I'll.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Great. You're much clearer now.
Yeah.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah. Good.
Yep.
Yes,
Okay.
I can hear you better.
Oh, good. Okay. No, I just wanted to tell you about this this learning environment, which was created with Quicktime VR. So imagine it's like going into a laboratory or a workplace, and you can, with your mouse, you can scroll all the way around 360 degrees and you can see what practices are happening in this as a workplace. So I just wanted to show you this because this has the makings, using technology, of providing a really authentic learning environment. But what often happens is sometimes teachers will have the makings of a really great authentic kind of learning environment, and then they will instead simplify it down and break it down into short questions for students to answer. And then in that case, it's not really a very authentic kind of learning environment at all.
Okay. So, Jen,
So,
can I have a question? What do you mean by not very authentic? It means, do you have a degree of authenticity? Do you, is there, what kind of, how do we know that it's not very authentic or it's very authentic? What kind of degree do you actually want to achieve if someone wants to do that?
the earlier slides that I had that you might have missed, actually, they have all the characteristics of our research that makes it an authentic learning environment. So those 9 characteristics that I went through, and the continuum where people can say, well, you know, is there collaboration? If there is collaboration, it's more authentic. If there's no collaboration, it's not so authentic. If it has an authentic task, it's very authentic. If it hasn't, it's not so authentic. So in this situation, if somebody was to just break down the questions, instead of saying, is this a safe workplace, and write a report on it, they break it down so the students don't even have to think about it. That would make it less authentic.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
So there's only a couple more slides, so I'll do those, and then then people can we can perhaps have a conversation about it.
Sure.
But if you could just go, like I've just got a slide on Web 2 tools, but just move on to the next one after that. But the web it gives us places where we can start to publish our work and our students' work. So just on to the next one now, questions to ask, is your learning task authentic? Which this also addresses your question, Josh.
Yeah.
So if we could go on to that one. So there's a few questions that you can ask about your learning task that you give students. What is it that the students do? So if it's only the teacher that, for instance, uses technology, then it's probably not going to be a very kind of authentic task. And is it related to real world tasks? That's another thing. Like, is this the sort of thing that people would do in the real world? Like, people usually don't answer a list of questions from a teacher in the real world. The next question is, who uses the technology? More and more we're using technology. If it's only the teacher that uses the technology, for instance, in creating PowerPoint presentations, then it's not very good use of the technology. I'm still looking at the same slide. Josh, could you bring up the one questions to ask?
It's already there. Maybe just a little bit slow.
Oh, okay. All right. So how long does it take? If it only takes a few minutes to do the problem that you've set students, like a very simple little problem area, then it's not going to be very authentic. Is there collaboration? If there's no collaboration among students with the teacher and so forth, then if everybody just does it individually, it's not going to be so authentic. And is there a polished product? So is there a product that's, something that the students can have a lot of pride as they create it? Like if they make a story or a digital story, or if they write a report that has illustrations and so forth, it's going to be a much nicer thing for them to create than if they just answer questions. And the last one is there a showcase or a place where these products can be displayed, like around the classroom? If the work that the student does is only seen by the teacher, so its only life is on the teacher's desk as the teacher marks that work, then it's not really going to be a very authentic kind of task. So the next slide then just sums up, this one, authentic learning, technology as tools, and the web. Those three things are very powerful enablers for preparing students for the future, because they give students ideas about what it means to think and work as if they were in the real world. So it's a very kind of empowering blend. And the very last slide just has an image of a website that I have, which you could have a look at if you wanted some more information on anything that I've talked about in my presentation. But I'd be really interested to hear any questions or comments or examples of authentic learning that you might have done in your own classroom. That would be great.
Okay, I'll stop the sharing the screen. So, if you have any questions, please type in your questions. Bapak-bapak, ibu-ibu yang ingin bertanya itu, we have a question from SMPN First Cetis is in Bahasa Indonesia. Is what is the definition? If you can make a one sentence definition of authentic learning, Jen, can you just sum it up in one sentence, maybe?
Yes, the way I presented it here, it's learning that occurs in the classroom, not outside on excursions. It's in the classroom, and it reflects the type of activity that occurs in the real world. So students have a chance to think as if they're a professional working in the real world.
Yep.
A long sentence.
Okay, let me see if we have another question from here. Ibu Yunis, do you have any question?
No, actually, I'm actually typing the answer from Jenna to Bahasa Indonesia.
I think we had a question before from Christine. Christine, are you online?
Yes, I was just asking about some of your favourite reflection strategies.
Oh, you mean getting students to reflect as they go through?
Yes, and do you have any e-learning ones that we can do electronically with remote students in different classrooms?
Well, I think there's a couple of ways that you can encourage reflection simply by these two things, by giving students an authentic task and by putting them into groups. And a fairly difficult task or a complex task, they have to reflect. They can't just do it the way the teacher wants them to do it, to answer it. So they have to really reflect as they work out how they're going to address that. So that kind of is like a built-in way that you can encourage reflection. Another way is getting students to reflect on action is to get them to keep like a diary as they work, or a blog, or, they write up a journal, or they simply reflect on how in their group they completed the task. All of these things get the students to reflect, I've found. Do you have some strategies you could share, Christine?
Well, just as you were talking about that, Jan, I was thinking about you could even get them to do a YouTube video, and they could all look at each other's, because if you're doing distance learning, they could look at each other's on the YouTube.
Oh, indeed. That is just an excellent way to get students, well, not only to reflect, but also to put all of their learning in the subject area into the creation of a real product. But getting them to share it with each other is excellent.
It'd be good too if we could set up like different sort of chats between students that were closed group for that group.
Yes, indeed. Excellent. Great stuff, Christine.
Okay, thank you. I have a question with
Thank you.
regards to the um, use of mobile learning in authentic learning. Can you maybe share a little bit about the mobile learning? Because I read some of your paper related to mobile learning.
Yes. I think the ready availability. Do students in Indonesia typically have a mobile phone? Are they allowed to have a mobile phone on them in school?
They're not usually they're not allowed to use them in the class.
Yes, that's the way it is in Australia as well. But if you can get the students, like even out in the, for instance, in the immediate environment of the school or even within the classroom, if you could get them to have permission to use their mobile devices, they can use them as really wonderful tools because when you think about it, a lot of the phones now have a microphone on them. And a lot of the phones will have a camera on them. So they can interview people, they can interview each other as they're preparing their authentic learning task. So mobile devices really are a wonderful way to get the students while they're outside, on their way home from school, get them to take pictures of things that relate to what they're learning in school. And also, you can get them to create products for their mobile devices, like podcasts and things like that. So, yeah, mobile learning is very achievable if we can get to use them in the classroom.
Okay, we have another question about the use of authentic learning in the class. We have a school here from Jetis Ponorogo. They have a course in batik. Are you familiar with batik? It's just
Oh, yes,
yes,
the
yes,
fabric.
yes,
Yes,
yes. How do you
yes.
actually get the authentic learning in the batik class?
Are you in the class? Are you teaching them about the designs or about how to create the batik on fabric, or like what is actually being taught about batik?
I think we have talked about batik several times in the meeting. They actually have the design as well, so the students draw the patterns, the design, and actually at the end of the course they actually have to produce something like the real batik with the real fabric.
Well, that's just an excellent example of authentic learning right there.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're getting them to think about designing batik, and then you're getting them to put it into practice, and you're getting them to decorate or create a product that has that batik design on it. And then the only thing I'd suggest is at the end that you'd perhaps have an exhibition of those batik designs,
Yes,
which would really bring it all together.
they do have the exhibition actually, but it's very interesting they have the exhibition afterwards. But I'm just thinking whether actually if they sell it like become with entrepreneur skills, would it be better, or do you reckon because after the exhibition all the learning just stops there? But I was just thinking with actually try to, let's say, make a website, try to sell their batik online and everything. Do you think it will be an ongoing learning for the class?
Uh, well, the thing is, it could be.
Mm-hmm.
It could be an authentic, a very good way to actually take from the learning because they have learnt it, they've applied it, and then at the end of the day, perhaps they can make a living out of that, which would prepare them. What you do in the class is preparing them for their outside world profession or job. I think that would make a wonderful kind of conclusion to what's actually happening in the class. So that's a great example.
Yep. Okay, I'm opening up another question. So, Bapak-bapak, Ibu-ibu, masih ada pertanyaan lagi kira-kira? Bagi yang mic-nya sudah on, silakan bertanya mengenai authentic learning.
Ya, halo.
Ya, silakan.
Ya, ini Bu Tin ya.
Oh ya, silakan Bu Tin.
Okay.
Ya.
Yeah. So actually, from the explanations of Jan, I'd like to summarize it based on my own perspective toward what you have said. So
Great.
All right. But of course, I need some revision. Maybe what I caught here is a little bit wrong or something else. So the first that actually authentic learning is about how we deal with with the real work, how we connect the lessons or the subjects at school with the reality that the students might need later out of the class, right?
Yes, that's
All right.
exactly right.
Okay. So long ago, also in this discussion on OLC for TBD, we were talking about problem-solving approach. So how to solve problems based on how to teach with by problem solving. So we give a problem to be solved by the students, and the problem relates to related to the real life. So is authentic learning a kind of that part two in problem solving?
Yes, this is a really good question because often people will say that, is it the same as problem-based learning or different? Is there anything the same or different? I would say that problem-based learning can be a kind of authentic learning, but sometimes problem-based learning is not authentic in the way that I've defined it because it's a little bit more limited. And I can give you an example. For instance, in some science, and often problem-based learning is used in medical training, the students will be given, for instance, a list of symptoms, and then they have to just figure out what is the disease that the person has. So the differences between that and problem-based learning is that in authentic learning, there has to be a genuine product. Whereas in problem-based learning, you can just come up with the answer often. And in problem-based learning, you can just look in your textbook and you can find the answer. Whereas in authentic learning, you're gathering a range of different resources to solve the problem. So they'd be the key differences. But problem-based learning can be very authentic, but often it's not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you
Okay.
for the question.
Okay. Is there any other question? Bapak-bapak, ibu-ibu, ada pertanyaan yang lain? Okay.
Yeah, maybe I can just add up something.
Yes, please.
Yes.
This is what's on my mind, that actually authentic learning is done in like vocational school, because actually they really gives what the students need, or what people need, especially after they are out of school.
Yes.
What do you think about this?
Yes, definitely. In vocational schools, there is very much an emphasis on working in outside, work-based practice outside. But sometimes in school, we don't always do that. And for instance, we probably need to open up our school teaching to more problems that occur in the real world, not so much vocational, but just problems that are realistic kind of problems. So, but yeah, that's a very good observation.
Oke,
Thank you.
ada pertanyaan yang lain Bapak-bapak, Ibu? Terima kasih Bu Titin atas pertanyaannya.
Yeah, Jen, thank you so much for your presentation. This is Eunice.
Oh, hey, Jenna.
How are you? I'm sorry, I came early. I came quite late because I could not join before. Yeah, I got a question. In related to authentic learning. Like in Indonesia, the schools have a quite rigid curriculum. And authentic learning is quite new. Only like some schools, they started to doing this authentic learning without knowing what it is. Probably some examples like a Jatis school in Jatis, they are really good in using this method.
Yes.
But yeah, my question is that how can a school most of the school start to use it? Does it have to be something that is initiated by the the principal, or can the teacher start by themselves from like a classroom base on what would be like the best strategy to start this approach, because we would like to teach the people to use this approach. And based on, and this the second question is like based on your experience, and when you move from the traditional way of teaching learning to authentic learning, what challenges that we need to anticipate?
Yes. Thanks very much for that, Eunice. That's a really good question too. You know, I think it's always going to work best if it's like, what would be absolutely ideal is if the whole school says, okay, this is the way we're going to do it. You can imagine the interdisciplinary opportunities that there would be, you know, how you would take a topic and you'd explore it from a range of different discipline areas. But it doesn't mean that that's the only way that you could do it. An individual teacher could also do an authentic learning environment simply by thinking about, like, you could break up your curriculum into chunks for, say, a week. And you could say, okay, what are all the things that I have to teach this week? And just looking at what you have to teach, put over the top of the way that you would normally teach it, you just put an authentic task over the top of it. So you'd say, okay, at the end of this week, I'm going to get you to do a report that relates to such and such, which would have a whole range of the skills that you're already going to be teaching, or the skills or the knowledge that you're already going to be teaching. So it's just a question, I think, of thinking about, you know, what is it that I'm teaching this week, say, and how will that be used in the real world? And then putting some kind of a task which makes sense of why they need to learn that. Yeah, so you can do it at the individual teacher level, definitely.
Okay. Yes, Jen?
Hello?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I'm done.
How about the second question, Jen?
Oh, sorry, what was the other one?
Can you repeat the question, please,
Sorry.
Eunice?
Yeah, sorry, I got
about
distracted.
I think about the challenges of actually implementing
Oh,
authentic learning.
implementation.
Oh, the challenges.
Yeah.
Yes. A couple of the challenges are often the students themselves, if they're used to being given very short questions and being asked to do so many on a certain day, sometimes they react, you know, they say, oh, well, this is not the way you've always done it in the past.
That's right.
But not all students are like that. Sometimes students really love it, you know, when you adopt an authentic approach, because they get to really put into place some work that they're very proud of. So there's always that. Sometimes the teachers also, not the teachers, the parents also are a little bit challenged because they think that you're not doing any teaching, which is, of course, not true, because you continue to teach in the best way that you can, in whatever way you have been doing. But over the top of it, you've got an authentic task and you're providing a lot more support for the students.
Yep.
So, and sometimes the students don't like to work in groups, for instance. You know, there's things like that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think is one thing that I pick up here is that it's very important that you communicate what is the purpose of doing this, and to especially if you want to implement something new in the school, like either within the classroom or like across the school community, isn't it, Jen?
Yes, indeed. I mean, if you could, you know, say you're a science teacher, if you could get all the science teachers together and say, you know, well, let's try and do something where we create a more authentic kind of product where students actually create something, you know, as they're learning. That's going to be really strong.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much.
That's okay.
I think we have heard quite a lot of very useful tips from Professor Jen today, and I apologize for the problems with the communication that we had to actually restart the conversation several times. But overall, we are very happy to have you here, Professor Jen.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. Yes, we must have just had a very bad line, I think, because it's been great the last few minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to speak in bahasa Indonesia and terima kasih untuk kedatangan rekan-rekan sekalian. Seandainya masih ada pertanyaan untuk Profesor Jen, Anda bisa mengirimkan email langsung ke Profesor Jen atau bisa melewati Facebook di OS4TPD atau forum diskusi di OS4TPD. Seandainya ada yang ingin melihatnya, nanti percakapannya ini akan di-upload ke YouTube, jadi Anda bisa melihat kembali rekamannya di YouTube. Oke, terima kasih untuk partisipasinya teman-teman sekalian. Sampai bertemu lagi di kesempatan selanjutnya. Oke, I would like to say thank you very much to Professor Jen for all the inputs that we received today, and we hope that we may have you again in the next OS4TPD meeting, maybe next year. Is that all right, Jen?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, thank you very much for your participation, everyone. And I hope everyone has learned something from today's session. And I wish you a very good weekend. And for people who's doing a Salat Jumat, please, you can just go. Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye.